Ah, yes, I'm going back to my roots today. I'm finally going to talk about an animated TV show theory, and it is one on the gems from the Cartoon Network TV show, Steven Universe. This time I'm going to do what I always do and combine it with science. It's been a while since I've examined a fictional thing and tried to classify and explain it through scientific observation, so why not today? If you haven't heard of Steven Universe, it's an animated series that centers on a race of extraterrestrial beings called gems, which have come to Earth and have the ability to exhibit many interesting and bizarre capabilities, and for these reasons it's difficult to understand what they really are. Insert Pearl joke here. Now, this video will simply be a thought exercise, where I'll try to explain the crystal gems through science as if they existed in our reality, from what we currently know about them, by observing and examining their morphology, traits, abilities, and origins, as seen in the show, and coming to a speculative conclusion on what they could be based on how a creature or object with similar capabilities would be classified in real life. Let me just advise you all by saying this is only for fun and not a legit theory about the crystal gems or what have you. I know it's a fictional show with fantasy ideas, some that are downright impossible in reality such as hydrokinesis, but why not do what I do best and explain with science? Some might say I'm overanalyzing, and I know I am, but really, I don't care. Let's start out with what we know about gems. Part 1. Gem Culture, Tech, and Civilization. Quite clearly, the gems are a race of extraterrestrial beings which seem to have an origin from a planet called Homeworld. It appears gems have around the same cognitive and thinking capabilities as Homo sapiens, and just like humans, they have used their minds to create tools and in turn, civilization. But unlike us humans, they are far more advanced and capable of creating such superior technology ranging from intergalactic spacecrafts and travel, teleportation, and many robotic machines such as the Red Eye. These inventions are so advanced that, just like Clarke's third law suggests, us technologically inferior humans perceive them as magic. Mind you, all without the invention of the wheel. This might be strange to think a civilization can develop without wheeled vehicles or wheeled machinery, but it appears the human civilizations of Mesoamerica were capable of becoming quite advanced without it. And contrary to popular belief, the Aztecs, Mayans, and other Mesoamerican cultures did invent wheels, but for some reason never used them for anything utilitarian, like carts, wagons, or even a potter's wheel, only for toys. If we use the Kardashev scale, the gem civilization is a Type 1-ish to possibly early Type 2-ish civilization, as they have not been able to create Dyson spheres which could harvest all of their home star's energy. Gems seem to rely primarily on energy from planets, not stars. They seem to use energy from organic macromolecules such as glucose found in plants and animals, as well as possibly fossil fuels, to power gem technology as well as create new gems. It is also somewhat implied that they also use geothermal energy from a planet's core, as seen in Homeworld's plans to harvest Earth's core. This means gems don't rely on solar energy from stars, as would be expected from such an advanced civilization, but instead use energy from planets themselves, which isn't too efficient when you think about it. The gem civilization does, however, have a large amount of control over the planets they inhabit, as seen by the plans to harvest Earth and the fact that it appears Homeworld has an artificial weather system that prevents rain, therefore making them a definitive Type 1 civilization. Their ships, such as the Gem warship, seem to be powered by an almost heart-like reactor core, but at the moment it is unclear what this core is powered by. As said by Peridot, Gem civilization is currently going through an energy crisis, and it appears Homeworld's resources are dwindling, meaning either the organic macromolecules used to create gems are running out, the planet's core is running out of energy, or possibly some other yet unknown reason. The show implies that the Gem civilization has resorted to planet hopping around the universe in search of planets with pre-existing organic life, meaning they are somewhat nomadic, similar to the Mongolian Empire, traveling from place to place, conquering and harvesting the resources from subdued planets. The gem culture is little known at the moment, but we do know the gems have a caste system similar to that of traditional India, with members of a race born into a caste obligated to do a particular job. Known classes consist of the matriarchal leader gems called diamonds, similar to the Vedic Brahmins or the nobility of medieval Europe, a warrior class consisting of quartzes, such as jaspers, roses, and amethysts, analogous to the Vedic Kshatriya, knights of the feudal Europe, janissaries of the Ottoman Empire, or samurai class of Japan. Prophets or fortune tellers such as sapphires, technicians such as peridots, a lower servant class such as pearls, what appears to be a surveyor or scouter class such as lapis, and probably many more classes with particular gems meant for particular purposes. One definitely interesting thing of note is that gems believe organic life such as that found on Earth is inferior to gems. Yellow Diamonds comment,
organic life.
said with great condescension, gives us a ton of insight into the Steven universe, universe. First of all, it tells us that not only is extraterrestrial organic life actually common enough throughout the universe for it to be common knowledge, but gems look down upon it as vastly inferior, like how a human would view a can of gasoline or a pile of coal. This quote is somewhat ironic because organic is defined as compounds containing carbon atoms. Diamonds themselves are carbon-based. Diamonds are actually nothing but carbon atoms arranged into lattice.
It's lattice.
Yellow diamond might be trying to refer to biological organisms, living things with bodies based on the major organic macromolecules that make up organisms like those found on Earth. Due to some definitions of organic specifies compounds containing carbon are only to be considered organic if they are of chiefly or ultimately biological origin, which basically means they come from carbon-based life. I know this is getting confusing, but all you need to know is that gems are not made of the same compounds as organic life. Although some are made of carbon, they are not organic and believe themselves to be superior. In summary, gems are extraterrestrial beings which have developed at the very least a Type 1 civilization, only being able to control the universe on a planetary level, not stellar. They use organic macromolecules and geothermal as energy for their machines and to create other gems. They possess a caste structure similar to that of the Vedic caste system, and possess an almost Mongolian imperialistic goal to conquer countless organic ecosystems on different planets to sustain their civilization's needs and create more gems. Gem biology. Gemology, whatever. Discussing the anatomy and classification of gems as organisms or even just as things in reality in general is way more complicated than classifying their culture and civilization, because gems are weird. Alright, let's just examine the abilities and traits of gems in general. First off, gems are extraterrestrial beings, meaning they're aliens. Yes, they come from another planet, and actually another galaxy. They are sapient and capable of possessing complex emotions, language system, and system of writing, just like humans on Earth. Their bodies are made up of two parts, their gemstones and their physical forms. The gemstone of a gem is described as something along the lines of a heart, brain, and I guess almost a nucleus of a gem. It is explicitly stated that the gemstone is essential to the survival of all gems, and they cannot live without it. Not only is the gemstone the area of the gem's body where their thoughts, ideas, consciousness, and mind are produced, so basically a brain or CPU, but they also seem to have an effect on how their physical forms look like and are organized as well. As seen in how when gemstones are damaged, so is the gem's physical form. Pearl even states, gemstones generate our physical forms. It's almost as if gemstones are analogous to the nucleus of a cell, storing the coding for how molecules are to be organized, like how DNA or RNA, which creates genes in organic life, organizes proteins during protein synthesis to create organelles, and how organelles can create tissues, and how tissues can create muscles, and muscles can create an entire organism. But instead of proteins or organs, gemstones store coding for their physical forms. This is confirmed by Ian Jones, who says the gemstones are the place of storage of their version of DNA. This coding is called gemetics by Peridot. It's possible that when a gemstone is damaged, so is the genetic information for coding their physical form, resulting in defects. And when a gemstone is entirely shattered, the gem's mind ceases to exist and their physical form is also destroyed forever. Gems of the same caste normally look close to identical with the same vocal cords, meaning they produce the same voice. This probably means they share a similar to almost exact genetic code. Gems are organized somewhat like one massive unicellular organism, with a nucleus-like gemstone that stores the information for coding for the rest of their bodies, otherwise known as their physical forms. Gems are created through a process in which organic nutrients in their surrounding environment are sucked dry from the surrounding organisms. It can be theorized that this process is the gemstone collecting all the necessary energy it will need to power itself for the rest of its life. Now moving on to the physical forms of gems. In the short clip, What Are Gems?, Pearl states that the physical forms of gems are like holograms with mass. These forms are normally humanoid, but can also take the shape of animals, objects, vehicles, weapons, and all kinds of shapes and sizes. But when gems are summoned, they start out with a default template of a humanoid, much like a doll or mannequin, lacking features, and then it appears complex structures analogous to those found on Earth organisms such as hair, eyes, muscles, mouths, noses, hands, feet, presumably vocal cords, a voice box along with lungs, used for producing vibrations for communication. They do not have glands or nipples for lactation, and actually have clothing fused to their bodies at all times, meaning their clothing is part of their bodies. It's doubtful these structures are composed of cells or even proteins such as keratin found in hair, and it is likely they are made of some sort of inorganic synthetic material. Almost all gems are capable of shift shaping. It seems the ability for a gem to shift shape has to do with how rich in organic resources their environment in which they were created was. For example, amethyst, which was created on Earth with high organic nutrients and resources, changes forms almost constantly, much more often than the old homeworld created gems, pearl and garnet. Peridot, which was created on homeworld during its later stages during a resource crisis, could not shift shape at all. It can be assumed that homeworld during the time garnet and pearl were created had more organic resources necessary for creating gems than homeworld when Peridot was created, but definitely less than that of Earth. Thus, we can theorize that the ability for a gem to shift shape is tied directly with the amount of organic resources in the environment when a gem is created. Both shift-shaping and regeneration produce light, and it can be assumed whenever a gem either creates their physical forms or changes their physical forms, light energy is released. It is likely both processes are one of the same. The shape-shifting and regeneration process requires a large amount of energy to occur, as indicated by Peridot's comment.
Do you always use shape-shifting like this? But it's such a significant use of energy compared to the output!
As well as Pearl's comment.
Though gems are extraordinarily resilient, if they're seriously hurt, they will release their physical form.
Yow!
And poof back to just their gem. This way, they can most efficiently put all of their energy into regenerating themselves.
It is definitely implied that gems' physical forms are liquid or fluid when gems regenerate or reform, and harden to become solid when fully formed, as seen in how sometimes it's almost as if the substance holding gems' physical forms together is goo-like and almost sticky-like fluid substance that hardens to a solid form. Now, when a gem's form becomes destroyed, on the other hand, physical forms become a cloud of gas that dissipates into the atmosphere, leaving only the gemstone that requires time to recharge before reforming their physical forms again, in a process known as regeneration. Now, bubbling a gemstone will prevent this from occurring, and stop a gem from ever reforming until said bubble is popped. Gems are extremely interesting in the sense they never need to eat or consume/collect energy, if it be in food, light energy, geothermal energy, etc. They never, at least from all episodes thus far, need to collect or consume new energy at all. They don't even need to breathe oxygen or carbon dioxide or really any gas, which is necessary for all organisms on Earth to break down chemical bonds to release energy to the body. As stated by Pearl, gemstones definitely store energy in the stone itself. My theory is that when all gems are created, they are born with the necessary energy that will last their entire lives, which is stored in the gemstone. This is likely why gems require so much organic matter to be created. They are actually taking all the energy stored in these organisms to use later for the rest of their lives. This thought that gems are created with all the energy they need for the rest of their entire lives is somewhat confirmed by their ability to be used as power sources, such as how lapis was used to power the mirror, or how sometimes gems are used as energy cores to machines and technology. They literally store a ton of energy within the gemstones. It is explicitly stated gems are created artificially, not formed naturally. They require machines such as the bacteriophage-looking machines seen in the kindergarten to create more gems. Peridot even says gems are designed, also implying they are not products of evolution or natural selection, but are indeed created by artificial means by yet-to-be-known creators. Another thing to point out is that the gems can produce a myriad of objects and abilities from their body. Gems can summon everything from weapons to water to magnetism. Some can project holograms of light, such as Pearl. All gems are genderless and are not sexually dimorphic. They lack sex organs, meaning gems do not appear to have the ability to reproduce. One exception being Rose, who appears to have simply changed her form to become one half of a human and one half of a gem. It is stated by Ian that Rose had to shift shape to create a womb out of her physical form to reproduce. Probably the most intriguing thing about gems is they seem to be mechanical to almost robotic or computer-like in composition. When shocked by a homeworld weapon, Garnet and Steven reveal their physical form to be filled out of what look like to be a ton of computer circuitry. Interestingly, when they are damaged or cracked, gemstones create static or digital glitches in their physical forms, much like what computers do to their monitors when they are damaged. Corruption of data is definitely more associated with computers and artificial intelligence than it is with biological organisms. So, based on all this information, what are gems? Well, I believe gems are artificial intelligences that have mechanical bodies, or quite simply are a type of von Neumann probe, machines that move great distances across the universe to utilize materials that they have come in contact with, to make new copies of itself. They are quite clearly, as Yellow Diamond stated, not organic. This being said, they are not carbon-based. Inorganic life is actually possible, although carbon is one of the most abundant elements and more likely to appear more often in extraterrestrial life as a base for life. Elements like silicon are similar enough to work as bases for life as well, and allow organisms with silicon-based bodies and cells to naturally evolve. Curious thing of note here is the name of one group of gems. They call themselves the crystal gems. Crystals. Crystals are interesting because it is somewhat debated if crystals should be considered alive. Crystals themselves are capable of movement under artificial conditions in response to light. They can grow, and they can form inside a geode, which is an enclosed structure much like a cell. So both crystals and inorganic life can exhibit qualities like that of gems. But I don't think this is the case with our rocky friends. It is said quite clearly numerous times gems did not evolve naturally, and are actually created, not born, nor formed through natural processes. They are created. Not only that, but they're created for an express purpose. I have reason to believe that gems are self-replicating machines, or robots controlled by AI computers. Dun dun dun. I theorize the gemstones are computers themselves, and their physical forms are like computer monitors, simply projecting the data and coding inside the gemstones themselves. And what are their physical bodies made out of exactly? Well, I believe they are the 3D prints made by 3D printers, but made out of nanomachines. Nanomachines are robots that are so tiny that they are able to manipulate the structure of molecules to form basically anything. They can dismantle matter and reconstruct it into new compounds and forms, even capable of creating artificial muscles, organs, and body parts. Here's my theory. Gems are artificially created AI, which is located in the gemstone of an individual. The gemstone is much like a computer processor, transmitting coding and data to the nanomachines to dismantle matter, like gases in the environment, to create an artificially created physical form, as well as weapons. Much like how 3D printers form solid objects out of substances by receiving coding from a computer, I believe gemstones do the same thing, but with nanomachines, to create a body. This coding is transmitted through circuitry throughout the physical form. This is why when a gemstone's physical form is destroyed, or their weapon is unsummoned, their body or weapon simply dissipates back into the environment, because it is simply gases in the air that have been manipulated at the molecular level to a solid form. This is also why when a gem is bubbled, it prevents the gemstone from reforming. What I theorize is happening is the nanomachines in the gemstone are not capable of collecting or manipulating enough gases in the air to create a physical form because the bubble prevents matter from coming in contact with the gemstone's nanomachine body makers to create their bodies. The amount of matter in the bubble is insufficient to create a full body, thus preventing regeneration. While outside a bubble, a gemstone is more open to an environment plentiful with matter in the form of gases, which is sufficient for the nanomachines to build a physical form. While their physical forms are retained, many gems still have the ability to restructure their bodies and matter, as seen in how most gems can shift shape. This process of restructuring matter takes a lot of energy, of course, hence the large release of light energy released whenever gems regenerate or change form, which is why gems need a lot of organic nutrients and energy in their environment when they are born to sustain themselves and form their physical bodies. Energy used to control muscles and organs is also transmitted through the physical form through circuitry and wires. All energy and nutrients are collected when they are first created, and it must be organic in origin. Gems that are born in nutrient and organic energy poor environments are unable to shift shape because they do not have enough energy to restructure matter as one born in nutrient and energy rich environments, explaining why garnet, pearl, and amethyst can shift shape and peridot cannot. It's all about energy conservation. Due to this method of replication and creation, gems are dependent on organic ecosystems to produce and create more gems, explaining why they constantly travel in search of planets rich in organic life like Earth. When a gemstone is damaged, like when a computer processor is damaged, so is the coding for the physical form, and the nanomachines which create the body get confused and do not create the form correctly. And when a gem is entirely shattered, it is impossible for the nanomachines to create a form at all. The gems are alien computers powered by organic living things, with the ability to create physical bodies out of gases by the use of nanomachines that manipulate matter itself. And well, that's my theory. And it might sound crazy, but the amazing visual artist and scientific writer C.M. Kozman created a speculative evolutionary story about a far future hypothetical race of beings that sound a lot like a certain fictional cartoon race. In his short story, All Tomorrows, a race of sapient machines are mentioned, named the New Machines. They are artificial intelligence that has been given nanomachine bodies, with their computer processor which contains their mind being a circular object that controls all the nanomachines in its body. Much like a gemstone, these nanomachines allow the new machines to take on any shape imaginable as their bodies are constantly remodeling themselves. They travel the universe and conduct studies and jobs for the galactic empire their masters created. But remember, it's just a theory. A Steven Universe theory. Thanks for watching. I know I just stole that line from someone, but I don't care. Okay guys, thanks for watching. It's been a crazy long explanation about gems from Steven Universe and my attempt to classify them through scientific speculation. I hope you enjoyed, and do you agree with me? That gems are computers controlling nanomachines which were created by an unknown race and search the galaxy for organic fuel to make more of themselves? Or do you think differently? This is all speculation and I could be entirely wrong, so tell me what you think in the comment section below. Well, anyways, Loch Ness Monster video is probably coming up next, so stay tuned for more prehistoric cryptid science crap. See ya, bye.